Welcome back to the Prez Podcast. I'm your host, the Prez, and my co-host, as always, is the incomparable Mr. Kean. We're gonna do our Week 11 picks for this weekend, and first off, let's talk about a downer of a Thursday night football game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals losing Joe Burrow to a torn wrist tendon today, out for the year. Really sad news from Bengals fans. This is a team that a couple years ago went to the Super Bowl, lost only by 3 points. Last year got back to the AFC Championship game, had made some changes the offseason, thought maybe, hey, this is year we're going to get back to the Super Bowl, maybe have a chance to win it. Even this guy picked them to get to the Super Bowl. So really, really sad ending. A lot of QB injuries out for the year. It's been a really sad and brutal year for QB injuries, and you hate to see it. For the Ravens, got right back on track, got the win. I don't think Burrow's injury would have changed the outcome. It may have been a little bit of a closer game, but the Ravens' offense was able to do what they wanted. Lamar looked good throwing the football. You have any comments on this football game?
Pretty sure there's Mark Andrews injury too, right?
Oh yeah. Serious ankle injury. Supposed to there. They haven't
Yeah.
said exactly what the problem is, but John Harbaugh did say something about maybe him being out for the year as well. Rough,
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah. It was two scores. Joe Burrow did get hurt, so maybe it would have been a little closer. But in the end, Baltimore is the better team. I think they deserve to win. Sucks for Cincinnati, but I I I feel like Baltimore um, is a better team right now. So I think they're deserving of this one.
All right, so let's get into our picks for the rest of the weekend. We're going to try to go quickly. We got 5 marquee games, as we call them, the big games, and then, of course, we'll quick hit the last ones. But let's start with another AFC North battle. Early on Sunday morning, it's Pittsburgh at Cleveland, two teams 6-3. But now that Deshaun's out for the year, another quarterback out for the year, the Browns will be starting DTR, the rookie, going away from PJ Walker. Maybe DTR's got more practice reps, are looking good at him. But there was news and reports that Joe Flacco, crazy Joe Flacco, was trying out for the team this week. Maybe they're looking for some veteran leadership. It's interesting to go for Flacco. There's Matt Ryan out there, Philip Rivers out there. You have a great defense. You just need a guy to complete some passes to get some first downs and let the defense do the work. Anyways, for the Steelers, have a real chance now. They have a good chance of winning another game. They've got an easier schedule than the other AFC North teams. They have a chance to get to 7-3. But you know what? I just can't trust Kenny Pickett on the road or an offense that hasn't outgained anybody. Even though it's DTR at the helm, I'm going to take the Browns in this one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very close game. Of course, it wasn't. It was a bit of a weird game last time they played. But
Week 2.
yeah. But with Dorian Thompson Robinson starting, I think with the Steelers defense, I think that they definitely could be able to capitalize on this rookie quarterback and maybe him taking a little longer to throw and making bad throws under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are able to do that, then they could potentially capitalize on the Browns punting and not scoring or even turning over the ball, whether that's through the air or by fumbling. And if they do that, then it's gonna be tough whether Kenny Pickett does play well, and the offense does get going, uh, and if they do, and I think that they could or that they will just enough to win this game. I have the Steelers.
Okay. Oh, Steelers. Okay. Disagree already on one pick. Let's see how we do. All right. Next up, the Raiders going to Miami to face a Miami team coming off a bye. Raiders 5-5. Antonio Pierce has made a change. You can see it in the culture there already, but harder to see if it's actually just playing both New York teams. They play the Giants, who are atrocious right now, and then they played the Jets, in what was a kind of a closer game, but still these aren't big wins. So this is the first test for Antonio Pierce going on the road,
Yeah.
going to Miami to see if this change really, really happens. I'll tell you right now, Vegas doesn't think so because the line is huge. Uh, and Miami, I said next week, repair Mike McDaniel's really going to have a lot of stuff dialed up, a lot of schemed up. Their defense is playing better. But I do think this game will be closer than people think. I think the Raiders are going to be playing really, really hard. and they're really going to put up an effort. But I think Miami's just got too much firepower. Give me the Dolphins.
Yeah, I also agree. I think the Dolphins are just a much better team overall, and I think they're gonna capitalize on the weaknesses of the Raiders, and they're gonna score a lot. And I think that that's just the way this game is gonna be. I think they're gonna win by at least 2 scores. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Okay. Next up, this could be a game where you lose this game. I don't think you're catching up to the playoffs. The AFC is a horse race, and if you fall too far behind, it could be the end of you. For the Jets, they won some games without Aaron Rodgers, but now it's kind of looking like the season may be coming to a close. And for the Bills, if you lose another heartbreaking game to the Jets after what happened last week to the Broncos, just pack it in. They fired Ken Dorsey this week, their offensive coordinator, which makes no sense. They have a really good offense. They're really efficient in the red zone. They move the ball at will. So they've had some receivers drop passes that have then been picked off. Happened last week. And I just find Ken Dorsey doesn't make any sense to me. That's not what the problem is. Doug McDermott, I think, needs to go. I think this is time for a regime change. Sean McDermott, thank you. Doug McDermott is a basketball player. Anyway, Sean McDermott needs to go, and there needs to be a regime change. I think it's time to, switch things up. I just don't think his message is getting through, and I think Buffalo is at risk. But you know what? I think they'll win this game, just because the Jets' offense is horrible, and that offensive line is going to get trashed by the Buffalo pass rush.
I do think that the firing of Ken Dorsey, of their OC, it does seem a bit odd. I get they want to fix their run game and some of the weaknesses they have on offense, but I don't know if that's just their OC specifically. I think it might just be the entire coaching staff as a whole, or the Bills as a whole, just not being willing to change. But I think maybe this could be a step in the right direction. But hopefully if they do get that offense back on track, then I think it could potentially be a good choice trying to rebuild the coaching staff. And I do think the Bills are a better team. Of course, Jets were able to win before, but I think that the Bills, again, are a better overall team. There could be something crazy could happen, and I think there is a chance that I think Jets could potentially keep this one close, but I think in the end the Bills are a better team. I have them.
Okay. Next up, I think it's 2 feel-good stories. We got Josh Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings. Everyone remembers Vikings were 1-4, and Justin Jefferson gets hurt. And then Kirk Cousins starts leading them to some wins, and then Kirk Cousins gets hurt. And Jefferson has a chance to come back. He's starting to practice. I don't think he's playing this week, but we should see him soon. But then they trade for Josh Dobbs, and they keep winning. They've won 5 in a row after a 1-4 start. They're 6-4, and they have a really good shot in making the playoffs. For the Broncos, it was just an ugly start to the season. Everybody remembers what happened in Miami, losing 70-20, and that defense was much maligned. Were they going to fire sale and trade everybody? What's going on with Sean Payton? Is Russell Wilson really this bad? Well, if you look at Russell Wilson's numbers, pretty good. Pretty good. He's playing better. The defensive turnaround with Vance Joseph has been amazing. You know what? I'll tell you right now, that game against Buffalo was ugly. But you know what? They're playing hard. And I like their effort. And I think this is a fun game. I think they're both 2 teams that are kind of fun to root for, especially after all they've been through. But I think that Minnesota is a little more talented. I think Denver's a little too much reliant on running the football now. As Russ is good as Russ is playing, he's not pushing the ball down the field as much, and I think that's going to hurt him against an aggressive Viking defense. Give me the Vikings on their 5-win winning streak on the road.
I think the Vikings are a better overall team, and I think they do have a very good chance of continuing this winning streak. So I do think the Vikings will be able to play well on offense if Joshua Dobbs can confuse the defense and scramble and make plays. Then I don't know if the Broncos will be able to deal with it. I'm taking the Vikings.
All right. Next up, possible game of the year. But we keep saying that and we keep getting let down. Hopefully that's not the case. Two teams coming off a bye facing on Monday night. It's a Super Bowl rematch. Eagles at the Chiefs, 8-1 versus 7-2. Great football game. Top two teams in both of our rankings. What's not to like? What is not to like? Well, for the Eagles, it's the pass defense. For Kansas City, it's the pass offense. Who's going to figure it out first? I'm not sure, but they are the top two teams in the league, and they're healthier than most teams right now at the right time. Other teams are falling by the wayside. Who knows? It's a long season. But I'm going to take Kansas City in a close one. I think their defense is playing well enough. I think they're going to surprise the Eagles with how well their pass defense is. They're going to get some pressure on Hurts. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball as effectively as they need to. So I like Kansas City in a lower scoring game in the Super Bowl, 20-17. Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, of course. Super Bowl rematch, and this is, I mean, I'm gonna be really sad if this isn't a good game, and I do think it is a bit funny how it's a team whose offense hasn't been playing as good as we've expected compared to against a team whose defense hasn't been playing as well as we've expected, and it is who's gonna play better on that, who's gonna figure it out, who's gonna play well. And for me, I'm taking the Eagles, and I think their defense is gonna do enough. I think they could do the job, and it may just come down to turnovers, and in the end, I think the Eagles have a better chance.
Okay. All right, next to the lineup, let's go through them. Quick hitters. Chicago at Detroit in a bloodbath. Give me the Lions. I think those Lions eat those Bears rapidly, and Detroit really establishes their dominance.
The Lions are definitely a better team, and I don't see a way Chicago wins this. I'm taking the Lions.
All right, next up, we got the Chargers going to Lambeau to face the Green Bay Packers. I think the Chargers get back on track. Like their season, it's pretty polarizing. 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 wins, 2 losses, a loss, and then the win. They're back to 500 after a win. Give me the Chargers over the Packers.
I think this will be a close game, but I do think the Chargers are a better team overall right now. So I'm going to take the Chargers.
Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants travel to Washington to face the Commanders and Sam Howell. Mr. Sam Howell has been playing great. He's gotten a lot better from the beginning of the season, and Tommy DeVito has not been getting better, but that's okay because the Giants suck. Give me the Commanders at home.
I do think the Commanders right now are the better overall team. So in the NFC East matchup, I'm taking Washington.
Next up, the Cowboys travel down south to face the Carolina Panthers. Cowboys got a lucky benefit.
More to the east.
Southeast. That's where North Carolina is. It's southeast.
I mean, yeah, but they're going eastward.
Okay, Mr. Geography. Anyways, just interrupted me in the middle of my spiel about where the Cowboys are going. They're traveling east. In fact, it's a little north. You could even say North Carolina is north of Dallas, if that's what you want to get very specific about exactly where they're going. But either way, it's the NFC South Division from the East Division. Where do you want to attack it from? Anyways, the Cowboys will beat the Panthers by a lot. Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Cowboys will beat the Panthers by a lot.
Okay.
Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah. Tennessee will go south to Jacksonville from Nashville to Duval County, where the Jaguars got destroyed last week by San Francisco. I think they bounce back. I think Will Levis will continue to get better, but the real problem with Tennessee is they don't have an offensive line to pass protect, and they've only got a few good weapons in the pass game. So I think it's going to be brutal, but it'll be a closer game than people expect. But give me the Jaguars.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville is definitely the better overall team, and I don't think Will Levis and that O-line will be able to handle the Jags. I think the Jags win this one.
All right, next up, Cardinals at Texans. Surprising game. You know, Cardinals are 2-8. Did have a bounce back win with Kyler Murray at home against Atlanta last week. Texans, big road win against the Bengals last week. C.J. Stroud looking like the front runner for MVP. D'Amico Ryan's looking like the front runner for Coach of the Year. Things that I didn't think we would be saying in the middle of the year. I think this game will be fun. I think this game will be exciting. But I'm going to take the home team. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, the Texans have just been playing very well, and I think that continues here against Arizona. Of course, this is kind of a weird game, as you know. It determines one of Carolina's first-round picks, and it determines Carolina's other first-round pick. So, I think the Texans are gonna keep this amazing play from C.J. Stroud in that offense. I'm taking the Texans.
Well, let's see. Cardinals pick. They traded for. That's true. Very crazy. All right, next up, Bucks at San Francisco. San Francisco looks back to their dominant form. Tampa Bay got a big win. They're not out of it in the NFC South, but I think 49ers established their dominance. Just going to roll over Tampa Bay. Give me the 49ers at home.
Yeah, I think San Francisco's getting back to being that great team that we knew, and I think that they easily beat the Buccaneers.
Okay. Next, we have a Week 1 matchup. We have a rematch of a Week 1 matchup where the Rams destroyed the Seahawks at home 30-13, and what was a bit of a surprise at the time. Rams have had a tough schedule, played well in a couple injuries. Matthew Stafford, though, should be back. Carson Wentz in town. Very odd signing in for me, but if Stafford's fully healthy, why do you need Wentz? Anyways, the Seahawks need this win. The next 4 weeks are brutal. Twice against the 49ers, once against Dallas, once against Philadelphia. They don't win this game, could get ugly fast. Beat them last year in Los Angeles. For some reason, Sean McVay has really good offense against the Seahawks. But I may regret saying this. Give me the Hawks on the road.
The Rams beat the Seahawks last time, but I think now Seattle's gone into a rhythm. I think they're gonna pull this one out. The Rams could potentially take this one. I do think that's a possibility, and I think this will be a close game. But I think in the end, Seattle's a better team. I think the Hawks will win.
Okay. Those are our Week 11 picks. Have a great weekend before Thanksgiving week. We'll be back with the regular videos for Thanksgiving week. And we'll talk to you before Thanksgiving. But have a great weekend.